Neil was at BET for 24 years before moving over to ESPN in 2005 to continue his outstanding HBCU coverage. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Pakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Deshauna Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's Thought-Provoking Thursday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and in our first we are in conversation with Tiba, former Deputy Executive Director for the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. He's a strategic alliance consultant and president of Party Politics US. He's worked as a TV political contributor for BNC News, In the Heat, In the Know with Mo, The Leslie Marshall Show, iHeartRadio, Government Exec, 96.3 WHUR, and the One America News Network. In 2020, Atiba released his first novel, Saving Grace, a political thriller. Atiba, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse, it's good to be with you. It must be Thursday, so I'm excited to be able to talk to you.
Man, I'm excited that we are in conversation. I love the t-shirt, Atiba. Go ahead and tell us about it.
All right. Well, tomorrow we're going to be dropping midterms, fingmatter.com. And today I'm wearing a shirt that says F with asterisk in the middle, 3 of them, ING, and vote, because we all know that this election is important. Every election is important. This one just has some special significance. I'm really excited about our guest who's joining us today. And, you know, we're going to do everything that we can on this end to excite, inspire, and move us to go to vote, because it is important and we have to vote because our lives depend on it.
Atiba, I'm so grateful that you have reached out to leader Karen Camper, who's the leader of the Tennessee House Democratic Caucus. She has represented District 87 in Memphis since 2008. She attended Southside High School in Memphis and the University of Tennessee, later graduating from SUNY Albany. She's the mother of one and a small business owner. Rep. Karen Camper is a retired chief warrant officer in the United States Army working in intelligence. She is a charter member of the Women in Military Service for America, and her military career includes Meritorious Service Medal, 2 oak leaf clusters. That's a woman of honor. Army Commendation Medal, 2 oak leaf clusters. Army Achievement Medal, National Defense Service Medal, and Military Volunteer Medal. In fact, given the nature of these honors, she is better qualified to be Secretary of Defense than uh, she earned her medals. Rep. Camper is now the first African-American woman, the first African-American, period, to be elected leader of the Tennessee House Democratic Caucus in the Tennessee General Assembly, a historic accomplishment that should pave the way for future generations. Leader Camper, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and our conversation with Atiba.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I've known Atiba for a very long time. I have a great relationship.
It is really, really an honor to have you on our program. We have a tight break at the 11 minutes after the hour. Atiba, let you begin by our initial conversation with the leader.
Well, Leader Camper, thank you again for joining us. And you all have had a lot going on there in Tennessee the last few days. Rather than ask you a question, I'm going to just kind of let you go into just what have the last few days been like for you as the leader of the Tennessee House of Representatives with what happened with redistricting.
Thank you. It's actually been a sense of renewed hope, if you will. It's been tiring. We've been busy, grinding, trying to balance everything, considering we just come out of session. We just was in the process really of mourning Representative Hardaway and then went into the special session. So it was a lot back to back. But, we're using this opportunity to renew our hope, to fight and to, galvanize people. So I feel pretty good right now.
Mm. Leader, let me ask a question. Justin Pearson has been a regular on our program, and I happen to know Brother Johnson as well, both of whom were here in attendance at my father's memorial services. I'm really proud of these young men who have stood up and have been fighting back, really setting the standard for a new generation of public servants. But these last 2 weeks have been nothing short of shocking, not only for the people of Tennessee, but for every state in the union, wherever there are African-American legislators and obviously members of Congress. The idea of no protections from obviously Section 5, which was struck down some time ago, but the striking down of Section 2 is nothing short, from our perspective up north, of being cataclysmic. Madam Leader?
I agree with you, but I also agree that we knew that they were planning something. We knew that the possibility was there with the court that's been assembled. So I'm really not as surprised or shocked, because I know how this president is. I know how much of a bully he is, and I know how quickly they are to defect from their values to acquiesce to his wish, wants, and desires. So shocking in a way, but not really. I'm really not that shocked. Happening as fast as it did, maybe I'm shocked about that, but not the fact that they're trying to dismantle our voting rights. Not at all.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest is the leader of the Democratic Caucus for Tennessee House Democrats, the Honorable Karen Camper, on Conversations with Atiba when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
You have something to say, and we want to hear it. KBLA Talk 1580 is engagement radio, not outrage radio. A place where your hopes, your frustrations, and your ideas are welcome 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Real talk, real people, real Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580, the station that sounds like the city looks. Tune in on your AM radio dial at 1580. Download our free KBLA 1580 app or listen live on our website at KBLA1580.com.
Unapologetically progressive.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Fig Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot stomping, heart stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I declare it passed.
Somebody who drew the map divide the black vote up in the 3 districts to where they are a minority and they don't have enough influence to elect a member of their own choosing.
The northern border and then comes back into Williamson.
That would be Congressman Stephen Cohen speaking to the issues in Tennessee at the ruckus of a legislative session that created enormous protests within the state of Tennessee and the legislature, but also all across our country. In the thick of it all, of course, is none other than Leader Karen Camper, the first African American to be elected leader of the Tennessee House Democratic Caucus in the history of the state. Leader Camper, welcome forward to our conversation with Atiba. Leader, I think you're muted.
Am I connected?
Yes,
Okay.
you are. We can hear you now, Leader.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize I hit the mute button. Yeah, thank you for having me. And seeing those clips was a reminder that, there was a lot of emotion, a lot of people excited, and a lot of people mad, a lot of people screaming. But we have got to move beyond the emotion and decide what we're going to do next, because that's what matters. Are we going to take those emotions and turn them into voting power? The only way to stop this type of action is to turn out the vote and replace some of these people. And I see the possibility of that happening. I think we have excited, ignited, whatever the word is, this state to begin to do something, and we're responsible to organize them, motivate them, and get them out to vote.
Spoken like a true leader, trying to round up her caucus and
yes.
that she needs in order to stop this kind of thing from happening again. Leader and Atiba, we have one more clip that our producer signaled to me that she wants to see right now.
Well, 2 of your colleagues from, the Tennessee 3, Representative Justin Pearson and Justin Jones, they were both expelled. They won their seats, in their special elections. but they have faced so much heat from your colleagues. I think we have at least one photo from last week. This photo just conveys so much tension. Do you think that they have been targeted because they're young Black representatives who are outspoken and they're not afraid to use their voices? Have they been disproportionately targeted by your Republican colleagues over the last few years?
Absolutely. And I absolutely believe that they moved so quickly on this because Justin Pearson was challenging for that District 9 seat. Rep Pearson scares them to death, and so does Rep Jones. And it is these young, brilliant Black men that, let me tell you something about, in addition to being brilliant, here's something these two young Black men also know: the Bible backwards and forwards better than any of my Christian Republican colleagues, and they can brutalize them with it on the House floor. And so they are so fearful of these young, bright men with far more knowledge than they could ever hope to have in their lifetimes. And I think that really the fact that...
And that was two white women, including the representative who was temporarily removed from the House of Representatives, Gloria Johnson, who stood with Pearson and Jones when they were expelled, if you will, from the legislative body. Leader, your hands are full right now with turmoil within the state. And yet, just before we came forward, you were sharing with us that you still have obligations to build the broadest possible base for the election of Democrats so you can curtail what is taking place in the state of Tennessee. I think you're muted again, Madam Leader.
Okay. I think there's some automatic thing here that's I don't know what I'm doing. That's muting me, but
I think the clip might automatically mute you. So if you can keep your eye on that little thing at the bottom of your screen, that'd be great.
What it is. Okay, thank you. Look, we've been fighting for years. What happened with the two brothers who was expelled at the time? We were fighting them then. They stood up. They pushed back. Democrats have, what we've heard for many years, a big tent. So in that tent, you have these young bucks, that next generation that's coming up, that's bringing along, and it's always been young people leading the fight. Now, come on now, we've seen it. You also have old heads that's been there, done that, can teach you how not to make some mistakes, can show you the potholes before you get to them because they've experienced it. They've been through it. You also have, liberal, Black, veterans. We have a big tent. We have progressive. My job is to bring those voices together from an operational unity perspective. What Malana Karenga taught us, you can have all of these strengths and all of these areas, but it's my job to bring them together for one fight as we move across this state. So wherever your voice and your power is needed, that's what I need you doing. And if you can go over here and get those conservative blue dog Democrats off the bench and engage, go get them. So I need everyone with all of their talents, all of their strength coming together to fight this battle. And that's what we're doing. When I say we're organizing like never before.
Atiba?
First off, I want to say, Leader Camper, thank you for what you're saying and telling us what's happening on the ground. Because, when we turn the media on, they tell us stuff and it creates a great deal of fear. I really believe that what we need right now in this moment is going to be hope. And it's going to be the fact that we can't stop and hem and haw. We've got to sniff and scurry.
Yes.
So, in terms of what you all are doing, the energy that we just saw from those clips, tell us, how does it make you feel? How does it move you? How does it motivate you as the leader? And then what is it that we can be doing outside of the state of Tennessee to provide you all with the assistance and the help that you need to continue this going, and so that we can also be doing it in our states?
Well, thank you for that, because what I've recognized with this movement that's going on right now, there are a lot of people that want to plug in and help. But we have to have a comprehensive strategy. So one, we're not duplicated efforts. You know, you got civil rights organizations that's on the ground fighting and want to organize, want to register votes, want to do all things. Well, I don't need everybody going after the same people trying to get them registered. I need you over here doing this, and I need this group over here doing that. Then you got people that want to go after the inactive voter. Okay, we need a phone bank. Going after the inactive voter, going after the inactive. So it needs to be comprehensive in nature so that everyone, one, can see themselves in the fight. When you see that you have a role to play in this fight, you'll be more excited about you'll be glad to show up and do your part. So it has to be comprehensive. People have to see themselves in it, and we have to make room for all the talents that we have. So when there are people outside that want to participate, I need to tell them and let them know this is where you can plug in. Bring everything you have possible to plug in over here. So that could be, okay, we know who's taking care of that. All right, so I got this other piece of the puzzle over here that you know, I need a little help over here. So when people call, I need to know where to plug them in. We need all the help because Tennessee, you know, is on the frontier right now on this fight. Now we're going to start seeing it going. You're seeing it in Georgia, it's going right along. Brown v. Board of Education, you know, all of those southern states that they dug at, you know, when they put those numbers, you know, in the debate, which was diabolical, to be honest with you. But it's a big fight, and everybody have a role in it. We just need to know who wants to be a part of it so they can plug into the comprehensive strategy going forward.
Jesse, can I add this in?
Please.
So, you know, when you look at Tennessee, you know, you look at Alabama, it goes up and down. You look at Florida, it goes up and down. But Tennessee goes left to right, goes east to west. So I'm assuming that demographically as well as geographically, things change as you go from the east side to the west side.
That's true. One
of the things often that I'm asked when people ask me to help them with their campaigns is, what is your path to victory? The Tennessee voters have sent something now to the Supreme Court. We're gonna have to wait to see what comes from that. But what does the path to victory look like in Tennessee? Is it the president and some of those Republicans there being surprised that people that are on that they think are on their side voting against what they're doing? What does the path to victory look like in Tennessee?
Wait a minute. Repeat that last part. You said something.
What does a path to victory? What is it that what would be a victory to you, considering these redrawn districts? What would a path to victory look like in Tennessee?
Okay, so with respect to the 3 districts that have been drawn, we know one that Black people's voices have been marginalized. So that's a group we have to organize and get together and encourage and get motivated to vote. We also know there are other people in those other districts who have been affected too. So they're upset too. You know, all 3 of these districts, all their lines have changed. Even some members within their caucus that was running for Congress now have been affected in their constituency. So we've got to go into those areas and organize them as well. We also have to target inactive and purged voters. That is a big part of it, regardless of whether you're in East, West, or Middle Tennessee, because they've been actively going after votes, purging people off, you know, and so we've got to get those that's on the verge of being thrown off and those that have already been thrown off. Now, look at these 3 congressional districts. That's a huge amount of land mass. So we have to have great candidates in all 3 districts. We got to raise money for these candidates so that they can do the groundwork that's necessary. Coordinate with every single Democratic Party county chair so that we're working a coordinated campaign on the ground. Now, we may or may not win that seat, but we may flip. So we have to have a 2-pronged strategy. We need to flip some seats to get rid of this constitutional majority that they have so that we can have a real seat at the table. And I think the energy is so high right now, we can do it. And that's across all grand divisions.
And Leader Cameron, just so you know, Jesse's been talking about state legislators losing their seats for a while. Jesse, I want to throw it back to you, but I just want to say he's been talking about this with the Voting Rights Act and how it could also impact, because I know we're talking about congressional seats, but he's been talking a lot for the last few months about how this could impact state legislators. I'm sorry, Reverend Jesse.
Leader, I served in the Congress of the United States from 1995 to 2012 for 17 years. And one of my close and dear allies, in fact, close and dear friends, almost like an uncle to me, was the late John Lewis. And behind each of these congressional districts, including the 2nd Congressional District of Illinois that I had the privilege and pleasure of representing, are state representatives and state senators whose districts comply with the Voting Rights Act of 1965 as well. Black Voters Matter suggests that the Robinson or the Louisiana versus Calais decision could lead to our nationally losing as many as 191 African-American state legislators / state senators in the states as well. And as I understand it, the state of Tennessee has 9 congressional districts. The 9th congressional district under the new plan has been divided into 3 different districts. I'm wondering, does your analysis include an impact on what it means to, 1, your potential speakership? Number 2, are there any expecting losses of African-American numbers within the state legislature itself that could impact your speakership should you pull the coalition together that we recognize you have to in order to get a constitutional majority? And whether or not you think that the division of this district into 3 districts, that we could even lose Stephen Cohen in the Congress, who is a fairly decent liberal member who has been very strong on civil rights since Harold Ford Jr. and Harold Ford Sr. Left the seat.
Well, at this point in 2026, I don't see losing a Black representative. I do see them targeting House District 80 next time. It was the one that was drawn specifically under the Voting Rights Amendment, the Voting Rights Act. And so I see that being a target next year.
Leader, I've got to break to a commercial, but I promise you, when we come forward, the next 9 minutes are dedicated to you and a further explanation of where we're going with this question. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest is the leader of the House Democrats in the Tennessee legislature, Leader Camper. More when we come forward. Conversations with Atiba on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is criticizing President Trump for saying he's not thinking about Americans' finances during Iran negotiations.
It's an extraordinary admission.
Trump told reporters his focus is stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. The comments come as gas prices rise, with AAA putting the national average at $4.53 a gallon. The Library of Congress is adding new music to the National Recording Registry. Beyonce's Single Ladies and Chaka Khan's version of I Feel For You are among the 2026 selections. And Florida Attorney General James Uthmire is escalating his fight with the NFL over the Rooney Rule. He issued a subpoena arguing the policy requiring teams to interview minority candidates for top jobs may violate state laws against race-based hiring. Uthmire says recent NFL website changes raise more questions about its hiring process. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Recall 67A mobile appointments are now available in your area. We come to you, quick, easy, and under an hour. Complete the recall to get $500, plus a warranty worth thousands. Schedule today at CummonsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers snapped a 4-game losing streak Wednesday night with a 4-0 win over San Francisco at Dodger Stadium. Shohei Ohtani was not in the batting lineup, but he was impressive on the mound. He allowed only 4 hits in 7 innings and struck out 8. The Dodgers have been struggling lately. The 2-time World Series champions are 4-9 since April 27th. Former Dodgers outfielder Jason Hayward, one of only 2 African Americans on the Dodgers roster over the past 3 seasons, has been hired as a special assistant in the Dodgers organization. The 36-year-old Hayward, a 5-time Gold Glove winner, retired in March after 16 seasons in Major League Baseball. Charlie Neal, longtime voice of HBCU sports, passed away Wednesday. Neal was 80. Neal was at BET for 24 years before moving over to ESPN in 2005 to continue his outstanding HBCU coverage. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We don't do ordinary. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
My name is Cynthia Mitchell. I've been an emergency room nurse in Los Angeles County for 25 years. I've been there through every fire season, every outbreak, every earthquake. Every time Los Angeles needed us, the doctors and nurses of Los Angeles County showed up. And right now, I'm seeing another disaster coming. Trump's cuts to Los Angeles County's healthcare system are a public health crisis in the making. Medi-Cal, public hospitals, disaster preparedness are all at risk, but we can stop it. Measure ER fights back against these cuts. For a half a penny, we keep emergency rooms open, care within reach for working families, and doctors and nurses serving the communities we love. When you vote yes on Measure ER, you're not just voting for healthcare, you're voting for LA. Vote yes on Measure ER by June 2nd.
Ad paid for by Yes on ER, Restore Healthcare for Angelinos, sponsored by St. John's Community Health and Health Justice Action Fund. Ad committee top funder, St. John's Community
You've
Health.
probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-511-3535, 800-511-3535, or biglou.com.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand. Your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Pakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artist and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
It's Thought-Provoking Thursday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We are in conversations with Atiba, and I am particularly honored to introduce to some, but to present to others, a world historic figure. Leader Karen Camper is the first African-American woman, African-American period, to be leader of the Tennessee House Democratic Caucus. That is since the inception of the Republic. And since the state of Tennessee was added to the Union, she's the first. And already with the Louisiana versus Calais decision, a number of our firsts are deeply challenged by the decision. In fact, in 1954, there were 0 blacks in the state legislature of the state of Tennessee at the hour. Brown versus the Board of Education. Today, there are 14 state house seats that are tied to Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And yet, Leader Camper has an obligation to build a big tent coalition that sees the entire state of Tennessee, which requires blacks and whites and urban and rural candidates for office, to ensure that we have the kind of majority necessary to continue to move the state of Tennessee forward. I'm honored that Leader Karen Camper is our very special guest in this hour. Leader, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you, and thank you for. I really appreciate how you put that, because it's
my dad was so proud of you.
Oh, I love him.
My dad was so proud of you. He understood everything that you represented. With that said, Leader, there are 14 seats that are tied to the Voting Rights Act of 1965, Section 2. And while we may be talking about the 9th Congressional District, there has to be some concern within your caucus, given that there are 14 of us still there, that there could be a diminishment of those numbers as well.
Like I was saying earlier, I don't see it in 2026, but possibly in 2028 if they use the same law to allow them to redraw them. And I do feel like they will probably target District 80. The member that's currently serving there, Representative Johnny Shaw, minister, great guy, great human being, he's retiring this year. And so next year when we come back in, I'm sure that, they'll probably say that's one that we can get. Because one thing about it is they want that area that he has. It's where the new Ford plant is coming. It's a lot of power. It's like that county is probably the blackest county per capita in the state of Tennessee. So I do feel that that it may become a target next year. Most of the other districts where we have African Americans, black people in America, it's predominantly black already. So the people will probably come out and vote, in record numbers to keep them there. Plus they're they're just great legislators.
Atiba?
Yeah, and that's news to me. I did not know that Rep. Shaw was retiring.
Yeah, this is last. Yeah,
and that's part of too. Having been in this space with you all for almost 25 years, I've seen legislators come and go, and it's always nice when I'm meeting some of the younger ones, of course, because it's like renewed energy and vigor. But what we also have seen over the last few years has been a disenchanted voter who haven't been going. And I've been looking at some numbers, and I can't tell you right off the bat what they are. I can tell you what it has done. And since President Obama's election in 2008, we've seen where there was a closing of the gap between African American and white voters. But since then, we've seen this widening gap. And a lot of it, I think, is also because a lot of young people did become very disenchanted with feeling as if there were things that were going to happen. I'm going to bring this up in Congress. There was promise of a Voting Rights Act, and there was promise of a police brutality bill to go through that never happened. And what we're seeing now with these Republicans, they're just pushing things down. It makes me question and wonder, have our elected officials, and I don't want to put all the blame on elected officials, but have the elected officials not returned some of the promises? And so now that people are recognizing that they're losing their vote and that it may not come back, is that renewing the spirit that we need to have in terms of their tendency? And then what is it that voters can do to ensure and make sure that the people that they vote in office fulfill the promises that they say that they're going to do?
This is what I'll say to this. In 2008, when Obama was elected, remember McConnell said we want to make him a one-timer, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's when their strategy was they knew he'd end up being two-term. They factored that he would be, so they would not have the White House for at least 8 years. So they had a strategy. We'll push our agenda to the state level. That's when that strategy started going into effect. We're going to push all of our stuff down to the state house. Now, couple that with most people understand completely federal government, Congress, Senate, the president, Supreme Court. They clearly get local politics, the mayor, city council. Most people don't get state government. They don't understand state government. They're not, involved in state. They get the governor, okay, but the House of Representatives and the Senate, they're not. So people were kind of disengaged from the state level politics. Now it's affecting their life differently than federal and local. They're getting more enlightened. That's why I tell people it's a continuous education process. Every time I go out, somebody will say, "Oh, state representative, what do you do?" Most people don't get state politics. But the RNC had decided in 2008 they was going to push everything to the state level. So we've been fighting, trying to educate people on the day in, day out of what we do to affect their life every single day. So I think people are being more enlightened now. They're more energized. They came out for Obama because it was a history-making moment. Everybody was engaged, and there was just really huge. And there was some things that they didn't get, maybe, probably, and that, people feel some kind of way about that. But I still think they didn't recognize how much state government affects their life. And slowly but surely, they're learning that. And I will say the two in Tennessee, the two members, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, who got expelled, brought a heightened awareness of state government. You see? So,
Leader, I'd like to make this point before we come forward. And then, of course, the final 10 minutes is obviously yours and a word of hope. During first Reconstruction, roughly 1865 to 1877, there were approximately 2,000 African Americans who held office in the South, with hundreds serving as state legislators. And while we focus on the 16 blacks who were there, 4 in the Senate and 12 in the House, after Tilden Hayes Compromise and Plessy versus Ferguson, by the turn of the century, there were 0 blacks in state office, meaning once they removed the federal protections, state legislatures turned on the state legislators and ran blacks out of the state houses as well. I'm deeply concerned about that. We will discuss some of that when we come forward. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. A world historic figure is our very special guest today, Leader Karen Camper. She will be the next Speaker of the House if we do our part in the state of Tennessee, and maybe we can slow the tide of some of what may be coming our way. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward with Leader Camper.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's be real. For too long, too many of our students have sat in overcrowded classrooms in underfunded public schools.
But as head of the San Diego School Board, Richard Barrera changed that.
Under Barrera's leadership, student literacy rose from the state average all the way to #1 among major urban school districts. Barrera led the way for smaller classrooms and for teachers to be paid what they're worth.
Barrera funded more counselors and mental health services, and community schools that teach real-world skills for future jobs.
A community organizer who became an education leader to fight for our kids. The only candidate for State Superintendent of Public Instruction,
Backed by the 310,000 classroom educators of the California Teachers Association. Vote Democrat Richard Barrera for State Superintendent.
Ad paid for by California Teachers Association Independent Expenditure Committee, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Are you still pouring gallons and gallons of water into a thirsty lawn that never seems to get enough water? LADWP has a special offer for a free water-saving front yard refresh available to eligible LADWP residential customers. LADWP handles all the work, including lawn removal, installing an efficient irrigation system, and planting beautiful California-friendly plants. Save water and lower your bill with a free front yard refresh. See if you qualify at LADWP.com/LEAP. That's LADWP.com/LEAP.
Hi, I'm Fred Martin, founder of Compton Kids Club. I just want to talk about the authenticity and tell y'all about my homeboy, Tom Steyer. Tom is a rock star. When I met him, Tom gave a grant to schools in San Francisco. All the kids were on probation. We were flying instructors for 2 years to come and help those kids doing performing arts and turning their life around. Some of the kids that he supported, they've graduated from UCLA. Let's fast forward. Tom is in schools in Compton, hanging out with the kids in the piano classes. Brother Tom Steyer hangs out in the studio with us. These are the seeds that he's planted. This has nothing to do with elections. What's coming out of his mouth is not a campaign speech. It's authentic. And when he say he walks away from a business because he want to do his values, he ain't making that up because he's running for governor. This man is real.
Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
Tired of traffic? Metro D-Line runs Wilshire now with 3 new stops from downtown LA to Beverly Hills. No parking, no stress. Metro D-Line, the faster way across LA.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is connecting you with services and solutions. Domestic violence and family violence is when someone in an intimate or family relationship tries to gain or maintain power and control over another through a wide range of abusive behaviors. Every single act may amount to abuse. Abuse can take on various forms: psychological and emotional, physical and economic, and sexual abuse. The Genesee Center Incorporated is a nationally recognized nonprofit domestic violence prevention and intervention organization, housing women and children from 30 days up to 2 years through emergency and transitional shelters. The Genesee Center also provides support services like mental health counseling, life skills classes, computer training, job referrals, after-school programs for children, field trips, tutoring, and comprehensive direct legal services. If you need help or you'd like to donate or volunteer, call the Genesee Hotline, 1-800-479-7328. That's 1-800-479-7328, or visit genesee.org. Everyone has the right to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the need. Come on and talk with me. Come on and
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. This is Thought Provoking Thursday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and our conversation with Atiba. We are honored to have the leader of the Tennessee State House of Representatives, soon to be, if we do our part, the next Speaker of the House of Representatives in the state of Tennessee, as our very special guest. Leader Karen Camper, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Greetings. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Atiba?
Leader Camper, as we wrap up, I'd like to give you an opportunity to tell us what is it that, again, I know earlier in the show you laid out some things that we can be doing and the strategy that you all need to implement. But again, what is it are some things quickly that we can be doing to help you and assist you to make sure that we protect the votes that we do have and that we go out and vote, and what I like to say, in numbers that are too large to manipulate the outcome?
I heard that.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. In order for us to even implement the long-term strategy, it's going to take resources. So we do need to raise money to be able to implement the things we want to do. But also we need wise counsel. We need people that can help us like in a think tank mindset, because this is a long game. This is not just 2026, 2028. This is a long game for the state of Tennessee and for the people here. And just as others are strategizing on how, like Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr. just said, they probably already talking about how can we dilute the state legislature. So we've got to be strategizing on all fronts. So we need experts, subject matter experts, people with resources to bring to the table to help us implement this long-term strategy, as well as, there are some things that may have been done in one state that was successful that we can do here. So we need to bring it all together. Now, I don't want to give our entire strategy out over the radio, but look, in July, we're going to have the National Bar Association here in Nashville for their annual conference. We're going to have the Urban League here for their conference, and the Black Legislative Leaders Network. We're planning to put on a summit to kind of look at this, to look at what needs to be done long term. So we're hoping that we can get together and further do that. I'd like to talk more offline with you and Jesse Jackson Jr. about, things that you all can help us do, and people who that are in these places that are willing to help and want to be a part of the strategy going forward. And then we can telegraph to the people what we need them to do.
Leader, let me just say that I'm grateful to help in any way possible. I look forward to coming to the NBA and to the Urban League, and maybe we go south and bring our show as well. We don't have to telegraph strategies while we're there, but certainly there'll be large numbers of contributors.
I think that would be great if you
and spend some private time with the leader, because the assault is serious from coast to coast, and it is the most devastating and cataclysmic thing that could happen to us. Some have even suggested, and I'm in that corner, that we are looking at the end of Second Reconstruction and the possibility of a new Jim Crow having essentially been initiated, with the court itself now turning its attention to Brown versus the Board of Education and essentially re-implementing the 1896 Plessy versus Ferguson decision, which has broad ramifications for all of us. Atiba, I do want the leader to give us a word of hope in the final 3 minutes, but I do want to ask this question. I notice that in the southern states, it seems to be the president sends a signal to the governors, the state legislature and the governors end up cooperating, and then they end up chopping up our history and our legal protections. But I'm wondering in the north, up here in Illinois, where we have a governor who has been part of the resistance, we have a legislature that's part of the resistance. My thinking is that many of our districts, including the one that I formerly represented, are also Section 2 districts as well. And it's probably going to be the Department of Justice that challenges our state and forces us to comply with the Louisiana Louisiana decision. That's what I think may very well happen in the North. It may not happen before the election, but this redistricting battle is going to be a long fight fought out over many, many years.
I actually agree with you, but I also agree that we have what we need to fight back. We have the resources, the people, the subject matter experts. We have people everywhere. We have got to tap into them. But people also got to feel as if the strategy is worth believing in.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is. Our people have come a long way in this country. We have fought very hard for the things that that the world over is enjoying based on our fight. And we cannot give up now. My ancestors fought for a day for me to be the person I am today, to even be the leader, even though they know they'd never see it. So for the next generation and that generation, we have got to fight for them so that they can enjoy the future that we enjoy now, and an even better future, whether I see it or not. We've got to fight for it. We've got to come together and leverage every single resource we have, because we have it. We have what we need. We're everywhere. And every voice.
We are going to do everything within our power to be supportive of you and to follow your direction. You're on the ground in Tennessee. We want to strengthen you. We want to strengthen your caucus. We see you as a world historic figure, iconic. Since Reconstruction, we wish there could have been a long lineage of African-American women leading our people in the state legislature. But for this time and for this space and for the alignment of the stars, God has blessed us with you. And we are particularly grateful for your service. We look forward to your leadership. We know these are trying times, but we're wishing you Godspeed, and the most fervent of our prayers are with you and surround you always. Thank you so much, Madam Leader, for being our very special guest.
Thank you, and God bless.
God bless you. Atiba,
Thank you.
What can I say? Our time is up, other than I'm so grateful to you, Atiba. Leader Camper, a world historic figure, brought to us as our very special guest in our conversations with Atiba. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward with Johnny Mack.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is criticizing President Trump for saying he's not thinking about Americans' finances during Iran negotiations.
It's an extraordinary admission.
Trump told reporters his focus is stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. The comments come as gas prices rise, with AAA putting the national average at $4.53 a gallon. The Library of Congress is adding new music to the National Recording Registry. Beyonce's Single Ladies and Chaka Khan's version of I Feel For You are among the 2026 selections. And Florida Attorney General James Uthmire is escalating his fight with the NFL over the Rooney Rule. He issued a subpoena arguing the policy requiring teams to interview minority candidates for top jobs may violate state laws against race-based hiring. Uthmire says recent NFL website changes raise more questions about its hiring process. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is this the tether? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers snapped a 4-game losing streak Wednesday night with a 4-0 win over San Francisco at Dodger Stadium. Shohei Ohtani was not in the batting lineup, but he was impressive on the mound. He allowed only 4 hits in 7 innings and struck out 8. The Dodgers have been struggling lately. The 2-time World Series champions are 4-9 since April 27th. Former Dodgers outfielder Jason Hayward, one of only 2 African Americans on the Dodgers roster over the past 3 seasons, has been hired as a special assistant in the Dodgers organization. The 36-year-old Hayward, a 5-time Gold Glove winner, retired in March after 16 seasons in Major League Baseball. Charlie Neal, longtime voice of HBCU sports, passed away Wednesday. Neal was 80. Neal was at BET for 24 years before moving over to ESPN in 2005 to continue his outstanding HBCU coverage. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Brothers and sisters.
There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580, download the app.
Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Thought Provoking Thursdays, Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And in our second hour, we're always in the World House on Thursdays with Johnny Mack. Johnny is a social entrepreneur, scholar practitioner with expertise in subject areas of peace, conflict, social change, and movements. Dr. Mack's research includes extensive study of Martin Luther King Jr.'s logic of nonviolence and the U.S. civil rights movement. He explicates Dr. King's logic of nonviolence using King's call to restructure the social edifice and particularly its triple evils of poverty, racism, and militarism with a revolution of values that is effected through peaceable power. Johnny, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and the World House with Johnny Mack.
Hey, Jesse. Good to be here. Thank
Johnny
you.
had an amazing conversation in the last hour with the leader of the House Democrats in the Tennessee legislature, Leader Karen Camper. She is the first African American who happens to be a woman to ever lead the House Democrats in the state of Tennessee. And that would be from the moment they seceded from the Union. Oh, well, let me start with this. From the moment they were admitted to the Union, to the moment they seceded from the Union, to the moment that Democrats in Tennessee opposed first Reconstruction, to the moment that the Democrats in Tennessee aligned themselves as Dixiecrats during the era of Jim Crow. But after Brown versus the Board of Education, we see these numbers beginning to change. We see these coalitions coming together in traditional Confederate space, if you will, conservative and Confederate space. And at this hour, the stars have aligned for an African American woman to be the Speaker of the House, potentially, of the state of Tennessee. And that's against the backdrop and reality that she is now the leader of a party in Tennessee that once promoted, supported, along with Thomas Jefferson, the idea of slavery. And I might add that the same dynamic that Leader Camper experiences at the Tennessee level is the exact same dynamic that Leader Jeffries has to come to terms with Southern Democrats who are elected from the South into that legislative body where he seeks to be the first African-American Speaker of the House. He has a coalition of blue dogs and progressives and AOC liberals and the Black Caucus and the Hispanic Caucus, but he also has some right-wing Democrats in that caucus who can point back to when their cousins came across that there hill and saw y'all Yankees coming down here. There's plenty of them Democrats still in Congress, but they're all in the same big tent party that increasingly has rallied around the idea that we have to be a big tent party if we want to protect our respective mutual interests. Johnny, Dr. King saw all of this.
Yes, Jesse, he did. And, I can just hear him say, isn't it marvelous, right? Isn't it marvelous? I can just, his voice rings in my ear. Isn't it marvelous? But Jesse, it's not surprising to me, and I'm sure to you and our listeners, it's at this very time when Leader Karen Camper rises to the occasion, not only as minority leader, but potentially the leader of the House in Tennessee. When Leader Jeffries, not only the minority leader in our House of Representatives, but potentially the leader of that House, that we see this backlash, this pushback, this restructuring, this reordering at every level, Jesse, at every level of our political process. And as we spoke, I think, and we mentioned in our last meeting or two, this time is that time that those who oppose this kind of rise in the leadership of African Americans and other persons who are non-white or not of the political persuasion of the current leadership in those houses, were planning. And Leader Camper said just before the closing that we have the tools. We just have to organize and prepare ourselves. And she was absolutely right that this is a long fight. This is no time for sprinters. This is the time for distance runners, Jesse.
I agree with that, Johnny. I am going to be offline as much service to Leader Camper and other African Americans in leadership at the state level. When Donald Trump talks about we want to return power to the states, we want to return power, I get power out of Washington and return it to the states. No one should be confused. They're not talking about turning power over to us in the states.
That's right.
You better believe there's a state plan, right?
That's right.
This isn't about, government closest to the people is local government.
Mm-hmm.
This is about turning power over to the most conservative, separate, and unequal forces since the inception of the Republic and the addition of the 10th Amendment to the Bill of Rights in 1791 when it was added to the Constitution. This is about the more than 2,000 African American elected officials who were elected during first Reconstruction after slavery. But by the turn of the century, we only lost 16 blacks in Congress and in the U.S. Senate. But we lost hundreds of state representatives and state senators at the state level. They were completely wiped out, and they never even were talked about or spoken about. And so I look forward to the leadership on this issue. We're going to have to dust off Willie Brown in California to find out how we can save what we got. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. costs. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Deshauna Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Big Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot stomping, heart stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We are in the World House with Dr. Johnny Mack. We have a lot of subject matters to cover, and I'm very much looking forward to them. But I want to pose a question for all of our listeners, and I want you to think about this question, and you can put your answer in the chat. We live in a country that debated removing Uncle Herschel from the Cracker Barrel logo. And then once they removed Uncle Herschel from the Cracker Barrel logo, all that was left was the barrel. Therefore, who is Uncle Herschel? And the president of the United States then chimed in and said, y'all better put Uncle Herschel back in the logo. I'll receive your chats when you tell me who you think Uncle Herschel is. With that said, Johnny, I am the fact that we even had to debate it says a lot about the nation as to whether or not we should have that figure in the logo. But that's where we find ourselves in 2026, debating some of the more insensitive absurdities that the nation even actually tolerated and engaged in the debate, and the president of the United States some months ago would actually weigh in. Johnny, what would Dr. King have to say about this period that we're living in?
Well, he would say that he warned us that this period was coming. And he would say that we have failed to prepare for it, Jesse. We've failed to prepare ourselves individually and collectively. And now we must do that work that we haven't done. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but I think that King was not afraid not only to call out this nation and its inconsistencies and inadequacies, but also to call us out for our inconsistencies and inadequacies in putting forth our best efforts to fight against the racism and the exclusion that we experienced, not only obviously from slavery, but up until this very day. And so I think there would be a certain amount of disappointment, Jesse, if King were to suddenly appear today and give us commentary on where we are.
You know, let me start with the theological imperative that we're all children of God, that we're equal in the eyes of God, that when we sit around our table in our home, that our brothers and sisters are treated as family underneath our parents. Parents should love their children adequately, not equally, but certainly everyone theoretically has a vote in the house, regardless of whether or not it's a bald-headed member of the family or a full-headed member of the family, whether one member of the family is lighter or darker. We are family when we are in the big tent, when we are in the world house. Why, Johnny, are we not fighting for equality as a group when certainly we believe in equality around our dining room tables?
Well, when you say we and our, excuse me, Jesse, when you say we and our, there are a couple of ways, obviously, to understand that. If you mean we and our or us collectively as a nation, there perhaps is one answer. If you mean us's, those of us that look like you and me.
I do mean us as a nation. I do mean us as a nation. The discrimination, the behavior, the otherness to which we treat people who look different without measuring them by the content of their character.
Yes.
Just looking at them and making a judgment or having a perspective or a judgment on their lives and the way in which they live their lives. I mean, I find that peculiar and a phenomenon that is unique to us in this modern global understanding of who we are trying to become as a people and as humanity.
Well, Jesse, unique, perhaps so, but recall that, at least I recall, this nation was founded upon many things, including a competitiveness of individualism, of winners and losers. We don't like to admit that because we have a narrative about ourselves as a nation that we've not lived up to. That narrative is peace and justice, liberty and justice for all. But as one writer said, just us, justice meant certainly a particular group of just us, just them. In other words, we were founded on principles of privilege, privileging one group over others. Again, a difficult conversation even in this century at this time to have, but one that we must have, and we must have forthrightly and very directly, as your father often told us and often spoke of. And that's really where we are now, Jesse. We fight, we struggle against each other over power and privilege.
Johnny, give me a tactic that works in this environment. And by that, I mean, Barbara Arnwine and Randy Weingarten have us coming to Montgomery, and I'm doing everything I can to get there this week to protest. the recent Alabama decision in the removal of the Shamari Figures District. The Three Kings March, to which Barbara Arnwine and Randy Weingarten have been amazing mobilizers for, which continue to grow in size. There's even talk about making the movement so much larger, capturing the attention of the American people and maybe even the world with the idea of a general strike. But it seems to me that the forces of evil continue to march in spite of our resistance and in spite of our protests. At some point in time, and I think I've heard others say this as well, that the tactics of the past are falling upon deaf ears. Johnny, if you were advising Dr. King today, what would we do differently to get the undivided attention of the political order? Hey, I got it. We got to vote in the midterms. I know where this, if my previous contributor, Atiba, were on here, say voting effing matters, right? I get that. He's got a t-shirt printed and voting effing matters. Midterms effing matter. I get it. But short of that and short of continuing our foot and feet on the ground movement and marching that, is so identified with the activity of the 60s, what is it that we can do to get the emperor's attention?
Jesse, it is the question of the day, and I feel like I'm just repeating the same old answer, which I gave just a minute ago when you asked what would King say today, and that is we just haven't done the preparation. Yes, direct action, direct protest and non-cooperation, intervention in various kinds is important. It's designed to do a specific thing. It's designed to draw attention to a problem and to create the environment for negotiation. We've forgotten how to do that well, in my view, Jesse. And so King advised us that we had to organize ourselves and mobilize ourselves for a sustained and disciplined march. And that, Jesse, is what we failed to do. It's part of what I believe Leader Camper was talking about when she talked about some of the steps that we have to take moving forward in terms of preparing ourselves. And she cautioned and advised that this is a long-term process.
Johnny, I got a theory, and you can answer this question because you're the only person I know who's given it this much thought. The difference between the 1965 march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge and the difference between the commemorative marches that have taken place since 1965, the most fundamental difference is confrontation and the expectation of confrontation, which led to preparation. They weren't just walking across the bridge ceremonially in 1965. They knew what was on the other side of the bridge. And the confrontation, nonviolent, was met with great resistance, including dogs. And it was so ugly that not only did they crack John Lewis's skull, but the images went around the world showing the brutality of America towards her citizens. Now, we can have all of the ceremonial marches that we want, King's Days and holler at some state capitals, but until there is confrontation, nonviolent, with preparation, that is the expectation that somebody's going to get cracked across their head for being nonviolent and not swinging back, which would become a whole nother story, or shooting or bringing untrained people to the protest who then engage in the opposite of the message that we would want to send, i.e. Martin Luther King Jr., the first march, I am a man in Memphis, Tennessee. He wasn't happy with that. Let's come back and try this again. And it's on that occasion that he lost his life. What's missing here is confrontation. So how do you confront the emperor? Is it that we take 1 million people to Washington and surround the White House and say, we're not leaving until you do? I mean, this government is not going anywhere until you leave, until you're done. 1 million people. flooding the nation's capital. That's a real confrontation. And trust me when I tell you, Trump's going to put the army on that march. Oh, he's going to break that one up. That ain't happening. But that's the confrontation. The confrontation, Johnny, creates a different energy, and it forces people to think about how the American people are being treated and or brutalized by the government itself. And it shows the profound hypocrisy. And I don't know anyone, Johnny, who's asked the question more than you have. After confrontation, then what? Well, after confrontation, then progress.
Well, that question, Jesse, leads to others, however. When confrontation, as you say, confrontation is necessary. This is an extremely important point here, Jesse. Confrontation is necessary. But what happens when confrontation doesn't get what you intended, or you get what you intended and it is not satisfactory? That is, confrontation, you intend from that to have a new regime. But what if that new regime, after your confrontation, yields you another regime worse than the one you had before your confrontation? What then do you do? And so that suggests, as King admonished us, that nonviolence is more than marching. It's more than direct action. It's various forms of social action that include cultural and institutional and structural strategies that we have not fully employed. And Johnny, that's why this is a long distance march.
Johnny, I'm talking about confrontation, as you well know, because I'm nonviolent. That's different than January 6th. I'm not talking about climbing up the walls of the Capitol of the United States. I'm talking about nonviolent confrontation where business as usual ceases. Our demands are met. I'm talking about nonviolent confrontation because there's not a black leader in America who can get a meeting with the emperor, not even as a group. And even if they shut down Washington, D.C. and surrounded the White House, until such time as the emperor agreed to meet with a coalition or a delegation of the million people to meet their demands, for fairness, for justice, etc. And then the leadership come back out of the meeting and report to us what the agreement is with respect to our list of grievances that are delivered to the emperor. That's a different confrontation. And again, I say it with the highest American ideals. No violence, no weapons. I'm talking about if, in fact, there are weapons, or let them be the army, let them be the police, let them be the agencies that do it, not us.
Jesse, I agree.
Climate.
I look forward to answering it on the other side of the break.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Vice President J.D. Vance says states that don't take Medicaid fraud seriously could lose funding.
For those states that refuse to get serious about fraud, we are going to turn off that anti-fraud money.
He announced a $1.3 billion deferral in reimbursements from California and says all 50 state Medicaid programs are being asked to prove they're aggressively investigating fraud. Tennessee House Speaker Cameron Sexton is removing House Democrats from committee assignments after protest over new congressional maps. Democrats say the maps weaken black voting power in Memphis, while Republicans accuse them of disrupting the House floor. In Asheville, North Carolina's city council is rejecting a proposed affordable housing project in the city's Shiloh neighborhood. Council members voted unanimously against the 10-acre expansion on Wednesday. Shiloh is one of Asheville's oldest black communities. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers snapped a 4-game losing streak Wednesday night with a 4-0 win over San Francisco at Dodger Stadium. Shohei Ohtani was not in the batting lineup, but he was impressive on the mound. He allowed only 4 hits in 7 innings and struck out 8. The Dodgers have been struggling lately. The 2-time World Series champions are 4-9 since April 27th. Former Dodgers outfielder Jason Hayward, one of only 2 African Americans on the Dodgers roster over the past 3 seasons, has been hired as a special assistant in the Dodgers organization. The 36-year-old Hayward, a 5-time Gold Glove winner, retired in March after 16 seasons in Major League Baseball. Charlie Neal, longtime voice of HBCU sports, passed away Wednesday. Neal was 80. Neal was at BET for 24 years before moving over to ESPN in 2005 to continue his outstanding HBCU coverage. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
This isn't a talk show.
It's a town hall with no walls.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
Hi, I'm Chris Holden, former California Assembly member, former Mayor of Pasadena, and CEO of LA Fire Justice. I've spent my career fighting for our communities. When I saw Edison celebrating $4.5 billion in profits while Eaton fire survivors struggle to make ends meet, it made me simultaneously sick and furious. Families and individuals are dealing with financial pressure, insurance delays, costly remediation, and the painful question of how to rebuild their lives, while the utility that caused the fire is paying its executives millions and is more profitable than ever. That's not justice. That's a disgrace. Join the lawsuit with LA Fire Justice to hold Edison accountable. We're here to help you, your family, and our community recover. Visit lafirejustice.com today to learn more about your eligibility and how to start.
Advertisement. Douglas Boxer, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. King Folly drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the need. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the need. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to The World House with Dr. Johnny Mack. Dr. Mack believes that his framework articulates Dr. King's peaceable power as direct, structural, and cultural nonviolence with a correlating strategic consciousness and cultural action correlates. Mack thus argues nonviolence is a metalogic with direct structural and cultural forms that counterpose Johann Galting's seminal conflict of violence triangles. Dr. Mack, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Johnny, I think you might be muted.
Great to be here, Jesse. Thanks.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. Johnny, just before the break, we were talking about after confrontation, then what?
Yeah, and you know, Jesse, 2 words caught my attention just before the break that you mentioned, and that was 1 million people. Well, that's 3 words, but you know, Jesse, our numbers. Numbers are everything. Voting is about numbers. You know, majority rule is about having one more than the other. And so we have got to organize and mobilize ourselves in sufficient numbers to have the confrontational impact that you were suggesting, just before the break. And we just haven't put that kind of mobilization and organization in place. That's not to suggest that the people who've been doing this work, and I'm particularly have in mind Reverend Sharpton and Nan, a wonderful national infrastructure of organizations and people who are continuing the struggle. But each and every one of us have to be part of that struggle. And Jesse, that's what we're missing. We also haven't talked about some of the cultural and structural challenges and strategies that we can employ, which includes, changing the narrative, using digital technology in creative ways that were not available in the mid-20th century that we have available today. I mean, just think about it. What was accomplished in the mid-20th century without Facebook, without X, without Instagram, with just CBS, ABC, and NBC for an hour and a half at most in the evening news. But look at the mobilization and organization that took place, bringing millions of people in collective consciousness, Jesse, if I can use that term, collectively thinking on the same wavelength. We lack that today for any number of reasons. But Jesse, who doesn't lack it? The opposition. They've studied it. They've put in place, as we said last week, the institutions, the organizations, the think tanks, the court, lawyers and judges. They put a whole infrastructure in place that we have not. And therein lies that long-term strategy that Leader Camper was talking about, and that King admonished we must do.
I associate myself with the leader's thinking on the long-term strategy. I'm 61 years old. I think you're 62.
And a half.
So some of it is a function of time. I spoke to a 14-year-old graduation in Chicago just yesterday, just last night. And I was so impressed with these 37 young people who have survived, quite frankly, against enormous odds to even make it to an 8th grade graduation. Who would have ever thought that it would be a divine event to actually see young people in their great pride in that moment, to see their families pulling for them because of what so many of our young people go through today. But when I think about, the great movements of the 20th century, and we think about Rosa Parks, that was a person who did the right thing at the right time, and a movement was built around that action. Selma Montgomery, you know it as well as I do, comes from the shooting of Jimmy Lee Jackson.
That's right.
I doubt it very seriously if he went out from that church defending and trying to shield his mother from the state police, that he said to himself, "Self, there's going to be a mighty movement comes from me doing what I'm doing right now." It doesn't happen like that, right? I didn't. Maybe I missed that, but I don't believe that was the consideration he gave when his death occurred. James Bevel called for the Selma to Montgomery March, and the rest is history. The way in which Dr. King, James Bevel, James Orange, and others approached that march was important to piquing the consciousness and the conscience of the American people and the world about the brutality of the government and the role and the brutality that was having on the people within our own country. It was that extraordinary a moment and event. We need a Tiananmen Square moment in this nation that grabs the attention of the American people and seeks to answer the question. First, there will be a confrontation. Johnny, you raised the next logical question, then what? But there will be a confrontation that garners our interests and the consciousness of the nation. If a million, and the world, if a million nonviolent protesters showed up in Washington, D.C., and were determined not to leave until justice rolled down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream, and I'm thinking Resurrection City, I'm thinking about we're not leaving. All of the streets are closed. No one's going to work. We're not climbing up the Capitol walls. We're not threatening members of Congress and the Senate. We're not, quote unquote, interfering with election results. There's just going to be no business conducted in Washington, D.C. until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. It's just not going to happen. And if Donald Trump brings out the tanks and is prepared to steamroll the American people live on television, then that too matters in the confrontation. No different than the university shootings in the Vietnam War conflict that piqued the interest of American soldiers on U.S. campuses shooting live fire into crowds. We are coming unarmed, but we are coming to jumpstart our government, to give our government the hope that it needs to sustain and move our people forward in the most patriotic of ways. We need the Bible in one hand, Dr. King said, and the American flag in the other. We're coming here as Americans, not as revolutionaries, not as this, not as that. No, we're coming here as Americans saying that, there will be no more business as usual until we return to some level of civility and a modicum of respect for people in this country. Johnny?
Yeah, and that raises, I'm sorry. That raises the question, how do we bring that consciousness to the minds of a million people? And when do we hold that event? That's the planning that has to take place. That's the communication that must take place. That is the organizing and the mobilizing that must take place. I think you're absolutely right, Jesse. You put 1 million people on the mall in Washington, D.C., and that 1 million people says, we ain't moving until we get our change, until our change comes. You'd get action. Question is, how do you get 1 million people to act? That is a challenge that we face today.
It might be a significantly less number to create the 1 million person march. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're in the World House with Johnny Mack. More when we come forward right here on KBLA.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's be real. For too long, too many of our students have sat in overcrowded classrooms in underfunded public schools.
But as head of the San Diego School Board, Richard Barrera changed that.
Under Barrera's leadership, student literacy rose from the state average all the way to #1 among major urban school districts. Barrera led the way for smaller classrooms and for teachers to be paid what they're worth.
Barrera funded more counselors and mental health services, and community schools that teach real-world skills for future jobs.
A community organizer who became an education leader to fight for our kids. The only candidate for State Superintendent of Public Instruction.
Backed by the 310,000 classroom educators of the California Teachers Association. Vote Democrat Richard Barrera for State Superintendent.
Ad paid for by California Teachers Association Independent Expenditure Committee. Not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Are you still pouring gallons and gallons of water into a thirsty lawn that never seems to get enough water? LADWP has a special offer for a free water-saving front yard refresh available to eligible LADWP residential customers. LADWP handles all the work, including lawn removal, installing an efficient irrigation system, and planting beautiful California-friendly plants. Save water and lower your bill with a free front yard refresh. See if you qualify at LADWP.com/LEAP. That's LADWP.com/LEAP.
Let me tell you something about Los Angeles. This city doesn't have small problems, so it damn sure doesn't need small, weak leadership. That's why I support Karen Bass. She walked into a system that was slow, broken, and reluctant to change. She cut through red tape and started moving people off the streets into housing. She created the Office of Community Safety to make our neighborhood safer, supported wage increases for many underpaid workers, expanded contract opportunities for small minority business, and signed an executive order to give formerly incarcerated people a second chance. Karen Bass is about real change. I'm Samuel L. Jackson, and I've seen a lot of people talk tough. Karen Bass is tough. That's why I'm voting for Karen Bass, and you should too. So vote today. You received your ballot in the mail by now. You don't even have to go to the polls. Just fill out your ballot and hand it to your postal worker. No stamp needed.
Paid for by Re-elect Karen Bass for Mayor 2026, 445 South Figueroa Street, Suite 2400, Los Angeles, California, 90071. Funding details at ethics.lacity.gov.
Tired of traffic? Metro D-Line runs Wilshire now with 3 new stops from downtown LA to Beverly Hills. No parking, no stress. Metro D-Line, the faster way across LA.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I don't think about Americans' financial situation.
Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all. That's the only thing that motivates.
Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. That was the President of the United States saying that he doesn't really give a hoot about how you feel economically, financially, or whether or not you can pay your bills. That's not what he's worried about. He's worried about Iran having a nuclear bomb. And that's after he sent a fleet of B-2 bombers in a stealth mission to destroy their nuclear facilities and essentially bury their nuclear program months ago. And we can't get oil and basic chemicals out of the Strait of Hormuz. Months later, he says he doesn't care and he's still looking for a nuclear bomb, Dr. Mack, that doesn't exist. With that said, Johnny, please comment on that. Then I want to know how we can help you, and I want you to continue our conversation at the top of the hour.
Yeah. So, for me, Jesse, that's all about leadership, right? The leadership we have and the priorities that leadership has established, and for whom those priorities are set, and what they'll get in terms of realizing their goals with those priorities, don't speak to the needs and wants and the desires and the day-to-day struggles of ordinary American U.S. citizens. And that is the problem. But we have technically the leadership that we asked for. And by the way, that itself was a confrontation. That voting, Jesse, was a form of nonviolent, direct action. And what we got for that was a leader that many thought was going to look after their best interest. And look what we have today. He's declared himself, he cares not what their interests are.
Mm-hmm. Johnny, how can we support your work?
Oh, that's wonderful. The worldhouseproject.org is our website, www.theworldhouseproject.org. We'd welcome
Johnny,
our listeners visiting. Yes.
I appreciate that. Listen, I'm thinking back to our conversation about confrontation. I'm thinking that of all the protests that we've seen, none have resonated quite like the protests in Tennessee, because those Tennesseans are engaged in a serious protest. And so are the Louisianians, if you will, if that's such a word, over the Clio Fields district. The state senators and state representatives are very present. But in Tennessee, the Jones and Pearson have really elevated this question to nonviolent confrontation that is resonating with people and resonating in the news. Are you feeling that nonviolent confrontation in the King tradition?
Yes, I am, Jesse. And it has to scale, though. We're all in this or not. We will all, as they say, rise together, or we'll all fall together, as King said. We can change this nation through nonviolent means, or we will perish together as fools. And that's what the kind of confrontation you're talking about, Jesse, requires.
I don't see any other way out of this. There's 2.5 more years of this grifting that's taking place.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Vice President J.D. Vance says states that don't take Medicaid fraud seriously could lose funding.
For those states that refuse.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Please accept our apologies for that technical difficulty. Johnny, you were making a point just before we left about taking confrontation to the next level.
Yes, indeed. That is the point. We have to take it to the next level. And Jesse, programs like yours is really what's so important. What we are doing in this conversation and the various programs that KBLA is producing and that you're providing to the public is one way of galvanizing and organizing. We have to scale that. This is serious business. And in Louisiana and Tennessee, they recognize that. We've just got to duplicate that throughout the other 49 states of this great United States.
Johnny, is there a word of hope in light of all that we are confronting? I shared in this past week, and I'm just going to take 30 seconds to say this. The students I spoke with were born in 2012, an era of hope. The high school students were born in 2008, an era of hope with the election of Barack Obama. In 2004, the baccalaureate class, those who are receiving their diplomas this week, were too born into the expectation of a great hope. 2026 is a very, very different season for this graduating class. Johnny, what would you say to the graduating class of 2026?
I would say to the graduating class of 2026 that our hope is in you, and that we believe in you, and that we're looking to you to continue in this march. And I would encourage them that we are behind them. We stand with them. We support them. They are our hope, and the future is theirs. And they've got to believe in us that we will be with them and that we will support them. So I have a lot of hope in this generation and the generations to come. Let's just make sure we hand off to them a baton that they can run with. Sometimes I'm not so sure. Please.
I heard Bakari Sellers say the other day that we are the first and maybe the last generation of Americans who are not inheriting a better world than the one our parents inherited. We hear that all the time during the election season, started by Reagan. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I remember that in the 80s. This is the first time that it ever really applied to African Americans. We have weathered the storm of the economic storms and the wars, but this assault on our rights, our right to vote, our right to representation, our right to an education, our right to health care, our right to participate in an inclusive America is under attack. And this is the first generation where we cannot guarantee for our children that which was bequeathed to us. We're in the World House with John D. Mack. I don't know anyone more prolific and more thoughtful in this hour than Dr. Mack and his extraordinary work. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica,